Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Winanti. Today I will present about my second project of syntax. Okay, in this project there are two parts. The first part is about subject auxiliary inversion and relative clauses. Okay, I will explain about subject auxiliary inversion first. The subject auxiliary inversion rule is a sentence structure where the subject and auxiliary verb switch places in a sentence. This structure is commonly used in English grammar for various reasons, including questions, negations, and emphasis. To better understand this grammar rule, let's take a closer look at some example of subject auxiliary inversion in sentences. Examples of subject auxiliary inversion in sentences. The question, have you seen my keys? The negation, I have not seen my keys. And the emphasis, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Okay, in these examples, the auxiliary verb have switches places with the subject in questions, negation, and emphasis. The structure is commonly used in English grammar to add emphasis or change the meaning of a sentence. Okay, this is the subject auxiliary inversion rule. Using auxiliary in a sentence, when using the auxiliary verb in a sentence, it is important to choose the correct auxiliary verb based on the sentence, based on the tense and context of the sentence. Common auxiliary verbs include be, do, and have. And there is common mistakes. One common mistake when using subject auxiliary inversion is forgetting to use the auxiliary verb. For example, going to the store is a sentence. The sentence is incorrect because it's missing the auxiliary verb. And another common mistake is using the wrong auxiliary verb. For example, do I can go to the store? The sentence is incorrect because do and can are both auxiliary verbs. Only one should be used. Okay, next. Why subject auxiliary inversion is used? Subject auxiliary inversion is used for a various of reasons, including asking questions, negations, making negative statements, and adding emphasis to a sentence. For example, when asking a question, the auxiliary verb usually comes before the subject. And the first reason, it helps indicate that a question is being asked and it clarifies the meaning of the sentence. The second reason is in negations. Subject auxiliary inversion helps to create a negative sentence by placing the auxiliary verb before the subject. This structure is used to indicate that something is not true or didn't happen. And the last reason, it can add emphasis to a sentence. When the auxiliary verb comes before the subject, it draws attention to the subject and makes it stand out. Okay. The next is advanced uses of subject auxiliary inversion. In addition to asking questions, negations, and emphasis, subject auxiliary inversions is also used in conditional sentence, passive voice, and inverting phrases. In conditional sentences, subject auxiliary inversion is used to create the if clause. You could say, if I were you, I would go to the store. In passive voice, subject auxiliary inversion is used to show that the object is more important than the subject. For example, the car was hit by a truck. And the last, inverting phrases also helps bring out meaning of sentences. For example, Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. The sentence is structured differently than regular sentence structure and adds emphasis to the word never. Okay, using auxiliary in a sentence. When using the auxiliary verb in a sentence, it is important to choose the correct auxiliary verb based on the tense and context of the sentence. Common auxiliary verbs include be, do, and have. For example, in present tense, I'm going to the store, and in past tense, she was walking home. Future tense, they will be arriving soon. Okay, this is the last material of subject auxiliary. The subject auxiliary inversion rule is a sentence structure where the subject and auxiliary verb switch places in a sentence. The structure is used for questions, negations, and emphasis, as well as in conditional sentences, passive voice, and inverting phrases. Use this structure to improve your language skills and get ahead in your English. Okay, we are going to the second material. Is about relative clauses. What is a relative clause? Relative clause is one kind of dependent clause. It has subject and verb but can stand alone as a sentence. It is sometimes called an adjective clause because it functions like an adjective. It gives more information about a noun. A relative clause always begins with a relative pronoun, which substitutes for a noun phrase, or a pronoun when sentences are combined. So this is the relative pronoun. Pronoun who stands for people. Substitutes for subject nouns or pronouns such as he, she, we, they. Whom stands for people. Substitutes for object nouns or pronouns such as him, her, us, them. And the third pronoun is whose. Whose stands for people or things. Substitutes for possessive nouns or pronouns like his, hers, ours, theirs. And pronoun that stands for people or things. Can be used for either subject or object. Can only be used in restrictive relative clauses. And the last is which stands for things. Can be used for either subject or object. Can be used in non-restrictive relative clauses. Can also be used in restrictive relative clauses, though some people don't like this use. Okay, relative pronoun as subject. For example, I like the person was nice to me. And both sentences will become, I like the person who was nice to me. The person at the second sentence can be who. Oke, jadi untuk contoh yang pertama, the person pada kalimat kedua ketika akan digabungkan menjadi satu kalimat, maka diubah menjadi who. Nah, pada contoh kedua, I had the dog bit me. Kedua kalimat tersebut ketika digabungkan menjadi I had the dog that bit me. Jadi the dog pada kalimat kedua itu dihilangkan, diganti menggunakan that. Begitupun juga dengan contoh yang ketiga. Oke, selanjutnya relative pronoun as object. Contohnya, I like the bag. My father gave me the bag. Ketika digabungkan menjadi I like the bag that my father gave me. Oke, restrictive relative clauses. Restrictive relative clauses give information that defines the noun, information that's necessary for complete identification of the noun. Use that or which for non-human nouns. Use that or who for human nouns. Don't use commas. For example, I like the paintings. Which paintings? We can clearly identify them without the relative clause. So we add the clause. The paintings hang in the SASB North Lobby. Maka kalimatnya akan menjadi I like the paintings that hang in the SASB North Lobby. Okay. When the noun is the object of the preposition, both the noun and the preposition move together to the front of the relative clause. In less formal English, it's common to move only the pronoun to the front of the clause. Contohnya seperti I spent hours talking with the person last night. I hope to hear from her. Dan bentuk formalnya menjadi I hope I hear from the person with whom I spent hours talking last night. Atau dalam bentuk non-formalnya, I hope to hear from the person whom I spent hours talking with last night. Non-restrictive relative clauses. This type of relative clause merely provides extra information. The information may be quite interesting and important to the larger conversation, but is not essential for precise identification of the noun. That cannot be used as a relative pronoun in a non-restrictive relative clause. Commas are always used at the beginning and end of this type of relative clause. A non-restrictive relative clause can modify a single noun, a non-phrase, or an entire proposition. My mother is thinking of opening a restaurant. My mother is an excellent cook. My mother is already a clearly defined noun, so the second sentence becomes a non-restrictive relative clause set of the commas on both sides. Maka kalimatnya menjadi my mother, who is an excellent cook, is thinking of opening a restaurant. Okay, this is the subject-verb agreement in relative clauses. Remember that the relative pronoun is substituting for a noun, which could be singular or plural before the substitution. The verb in the relative clause must agree with the original noun. People are lucky. People win the lottery. People who win the lottery are lucky. Itu adalah bentuk plural verb. And a person is lucky, she wins the lottery every year. A person who wins the lottery every year is lucky. Itu adalah bentuk singular verb. An agreement can be tricky in one of the blah blah constructions. The key is to find which noun the relative pronoun is referring to. For example, homelessness is a problem. The problem needs to be addressed. Nah, maka kedua kalimat itu digabungkan menjadi satu akan menjadi seperti homelessness is a problem that needs to be addressed. A singular problem. And the next example, many problems need to be addressed. Homelessness is one of the problems. Homelessness is one of the problems that needs to be addressed. Itu bentuk plural problems-nya. Okay, we are moved to the second part. So the first sentence, the quick fox jumps over the lazy dog. So this is the tree diagram of that sentence. Pada kalimat ini dibagi menjadi dua, yaitu noun phrase dan verb phrase. With noun phrase terdiri dari determiner, adjective, noun. The determiner is the, adjective is quick brown, the noun is fox. Untuk VP-nya terdiri dari verb dan preposition phrase. Verb is jumps, preposition over, and non-phrase, the adjective the, the determiner the adjective is lazy and the noun is dog. Okay, the second sentence, the girl who is wearing a red dress is dancing. And the diagram seperti pada gambar, ada noun phrase dan verb phrase. Noun phrase terdiri dari determiner dan noun. Determiner is the, noun is girl. Untuk verb phrase-nya ada relative clause dan verb. Untuk relative clause itu who, and untuk verb phrase-nya auxiliary, and auxiliary is the verb phrase, verb and noun phrase. The verb is wearing, determiner a, adjective red, and the noun is dress, and the verb is dancing. Okay. The third sentence, Stefano saw the Jehezkiela with the telescope. Okay, the noun phrase, noun, Stefano, and the verb is saw. The verb phrase, noun phrase, and prepositional phrase. The determiner is the noun is Jehezkiela, and the preposition with, the determiner is the, and the noun is telescope. The next sentence, she believes that the earth is round. Okay. The noun phrase, noun is she, the verb phrase believes. Dan di sini ada subordinate clause. Subordinate clause terdiri dari complement. Complement is that, and the sentence and consists NP and VP. The determiner the, noun is earth, and the verb is, adjective is round. Okay, the last sentence. The house where I grew up has been demolished. The noun phrase, determiner, and noun. Determiner is the, noun is house, and verb phrase consists relative clause and verb phrase. For the relative clause, where the sentence, noun phrase and verb phrase, the noun I, and VP verb, then prepositional phrase. The verb is grow, the preposition up, and for the VP, auxiliary and verb. Auxiliary has been, the verb is demolished. Okay, there was my presentation, and thank you for listening and watching. Dan mohon maaf jika ada salah kata atau ada penyebutan yang kurang bisa dipahami. Mohon maaf. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.